Hey folks, today's video is going to be a real quick back to the basics episode, and that is to actually go out and spend some time watching your animals and watching what they do and making a note of what they look like, maybe even take some pictures, that sort of thing. I've always said, for example, with condition scoring goats, every goat's a little bit different. It seems like it can be a little difficult to just look at a chart and try to match it up to that goat because they can be all over the place, and what's real fat on one goat is deathly skinny on another, and vice versa. For today's example of kind of going out here and seeing what they're doing, that's what I wanted to see. I just wanted to watch them graze for a while. Now, it's worth noting that just right back here in this tree line here, just about 2 hours ago, they got delivered about 100 pounds of alfalfa hay, which should be about their full dry matter requirement for a day. Roughly, for the number of head that's out here. They did eat on it some. I'm not going to act like they just completely ignored it. They didn't. They did eat on it some, but they didn't clean it up. Not very well, at least. And instead, they left it, and they didn't follow me. I followed them down here. And they came up here, and they're grazing on dormant grass, as well as some green grasses. We got some brome. We got some tall fescue there. That's still pretty green. It can still be very nutritious. Possibly even more so than the alfalfa. You have to get tested to know for sure. But they sure seem like they're actually right now preferring it over the alfalfa. They're digging. We got a little bit of snow. It's about 15 degrees out right now. It's pretty cold. There's a little bit of snow on the ground over here, and they could be over there eating alfalfa, and they're not. You might notice something I do feel like I need to talk about in this video. You might notice we're not on corn stalks anymore. It's because I lied to you earlier in the winter. We didn't stay on corn stalks till February. The short answer is we bought some land. Not this land. This land is leased because we're going to use this land to kind of learn on because that land's not going to really be available to graze for a couple of years for a few different reasons. Maybe I'll make another video about that. Blah, blah, blah. But what we want to transition to, and this has kind of always been the plan, is a year-round grazing operation. Now, year-round grazing does not mean that they never get any supplement. It doesn't mean that you're expecting the grass to grow year-round. Year-round grazing is the main benefits are soil health management. All the litter that they're generating right now, all the manure that they're generating right now is going right back onto the pasture that they'll be grazing in the summer. And you're getting all those nutrients. You're not dumping them. You're not putting them in a dry lot and having to haul it out of there to get it out here on your pasture, or dumping it on corn stalks that you don't own and that you aren't going to graze again, maybe ever, and all that benefits going elsewhere. Keeping the animals healthier, logistically a lot simpler. It's a little bit of a hippie thing. I'm a little bit of a hippie in that way. But yeah, that's the short explanation for it. Because we bought that land and because that is now on the midterm horizon, 2 to 3 to 4 years, we're going to start grazing over there. Decided to lease this land from a neighbor and start transitioning to year-round grazing. Now, this is not going to be an immediate transition. This is not something I've done before. I didn't really grow up doing this. Not really. My folks have been doing it for about 20 years now, so I do have a lot of experience to lean on. There's a lot of other people doing it. But it's going to be a learning process for me. So you guys, hopefully we'll learn together. I'll be definitely, if you got ideas down in the comments, thoughts, suggestions, things like that, go ahead and throw them out there. No bad ideas or whatever. Well, yep, that's about it for today. Just a quick update on why we transitioned to grazing in the middle of the winter, and why we're no longer on corn stalks. I feel like people do kind of need an explanation on that one, deserve an explanation on that one. And also just a good reminder that the animals will kind of tell you what they need if you pay attention.